And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we've got a super terrific show for you today. So you know what? We might as well just get right to it. Here we are at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 53 degrees. I think maybe the summer is over. I don't know. That's what it appears to be anyway. It's a little bit warmer than usual around here. And you know what? On today's show, it's going to be kind of a special show today. We're going to do what we always do. We talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and we'll be doing our news segment, the rest of the story, a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. And then on today's special segment, we're going to have John Matthews, Joe Hakos here. We're going to be talking about carried interest in conservative politics. Normally we do that on Mondays and Fridays, but we got a little switch in the schedule for just this week, and so that's going to be a really special thing going on. And then after that, we'll be with Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. We'll be talking about new wireless technology. We don't want to miss that. But right now, we're going to talk about news, and we've abbreviated it so we can tell you about the top 10 things that are in the news. So you can talk to your friends and your neighbors, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news today, and that's kind of important, don't you think? Sure. Well, here are the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow, too. And right at the top, guess who? Trump confronts his GOP opponents. The billionaire steps up his attacks on his own party leaders, promising to teach Republicans who oppose him a lesson. And Democratic activists respond to Clinton's speeches. They say that the private speeches to Wall Street bankers and others confirm suspicions that she will revert to more moderate positions if elected. And Hurricane Matthew blew out to sea, but problems still persist. Rivers and streams continue rising in parts of flood-stricken North Carolina, threatening to overwhelm bridges and split counties in two. Well, a makeshift brigades take hold in storm-ravaged Haiti. Groups of people are doing this to clear debris and form some semblance of pre-hurricane lives as anger grows over aid delays. I think there's just absolutely no excuse for the aid delays. You know, it's like not like we didn't know it was coming, and not like we didn't know that Haiti was going to get hit hard. Shame on those aid organizations. Well, Samsung sends a message to Galaxy Note 7 owners. The memo? Power down and stop using the device is unthinkable in an age when smartphones have become an extra limb. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about that today with Dr. Wireless, and how some women are responding to Trump's grab 'em remarks. You know, the GOP candidates' comments have unleashed a national conversation among women who are sharing bad memories of sexual assaults. And a medical examiner releases findings in a police shooting. The findings say that an unarmed black man fatally shot by a white police officer in Tulsa was high on the hallucinogenic drug PCP. And Warren Buffett's high-class problem? Boy, wouldn't you like to have this problem? Cash is piling up at Berkshire Hathaway faster than he can invest it. Berkshire is holding nearly $73 billion in cash, and the total keeps growing. Wow, what a problem to have. And then finally, who's on the mound? Well, I can tell you, John Lackey is for the Chicago Cubs, who are trying again to reach the National League Championship Series. Boy, will my son-in-law, Rich, be absolutely flabbergasted. If they get to the series, my guess is he's going to be taking some time off work, and he's going to be flying back and forth. He is a big Cubs fan. Well, you know what? Let's talk about some in-depth news. Clinton's pressing Republicans to take a stand on Trump. You know, Hillary Clinton's pressing Republicans to take a clear stand on Donald Trump as she tries to capitalize on GOP divisions since revelation of his predatory comments about women prompted party leaders to abandon him. The Democratic candidate's campaign manager, John Podesta, said that she will assert at campaign stops on Wednesday that Republicans, particularly those running for office in November, need to clarify their position on Trump. Are they with him or are they against him? Podesta asked. Trump, meanwhile, highlighted a new batch of hacked Podesta emails published by WikiLeaks, the anti-secrecy group. At a rally in Florida, he launched a fierce attack on Clinton and asserted that Podesta's leaked emails show more clearly than ever that the former Secretary of State and her family are corrupt. It never ends with these people, he said. Wow. You know what? This is going to be probably the nastiest campaign that I can remember. That's for sure. Well, Burnett and MGM are silent on why no Apprentice tapes are released, with public clamor growing for the release of footage from Donald Trump's reign on The Apprentice. The show's executive producer and parent company remains silent today on why they say they cannot release any archived video or audio from the hit reality TV program. Executive producer Mark Burnett's production company and entertainment giant MGM, which bought Burnett's firm in December, have not responded since Monday to specific questions about why they are keeping the footage private. The Associated Press previously had asked Burnett to provide the original The Apprentice footage for review and asked again last week after publishing story detailed allegations by former cast and crew that Trump frequently used lewd, demeaning, and sexist language while on set and pointed out which contestants he would like to have sex with. Wow. This is just going to get really, really nasty. But you know what? If he didn't want it to be, then he shouldn't have been, right? Yeah, well, Clinton aides are mulled telling GOP bring a dolly for emails. As news broke last year about Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, one of her top aides suggested simply releasing all the messages from her time as Secretary of State. The March 4th, 2015 exchange is the latest batch of emails hacked from the accounts of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, published on Wednesday by WikiLeaks. That was the day the Associated Press first reported that Clinton had been running a private server inside her home in New York. Within hours of Associated Press's reporting, Republicans from the House Select Committee on Benghazi quickly issued a subpoena demanding Clinton's emails regarding the deadly 2012 attacks on the U.S. diplomatic compound in Libya. Advisor Philippe Reines proposed that Clinton should respond by tweet. No need for this. Happy for you to have what I gave state. If they can't, I will. Bring a dolly, referring to a moving cart. Yeah, well, Clinton's lawyer and chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, responded, seriously? Well, I don't think, unless WikiLeaks actually sends them out, I don't believe we're ever going to see them. That's just the way it's going to be. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a buoyant Clinton reaching past Trump and wants a Democratic Senate. Well, I think any president would want a Senate of their party affiliation. We'll talk about it more when we come back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And right now, buoyant Clinton is reaching past Trump and wants a Democratic Senate. Brimming with new confidence, Hillary Clinton turned up the heat today on Republican candidates who are facing both tight election races and tough decisions on what to do about Donald Trump. She now is seeking to spread her new momentum to fellow Democrats on November ballots. Are you with him or not? Clinton and her campaign are demanding of GOP candidates as she surfs a wave of new support, part of the fallout from the revelations of Trump's aggressive sexual comments about women. Some Republican lawmakers are doing as she demands, but not all of them in the way that she hoped. 2 senators and 2 House members who called for Trump to step aside over the weekend now have climbed back aboard. Their basic case, they're voting for a Republican next month, and if Trump isn't leaving, then he's got to be the one. Well, see what happens. This is I got to tell you, this is the weirdest election I've ever seen, and I've been watching them for a long time. I watched Truman turn the reins over to Eisenhower, so I've been watching every presidential election ever since then. So this is just amazing stuff. Well, to Clinton, some swing states are looking more like safe states. Just under a month from Election Day, Hillary Clinton's treating a trio of perennial swing states, that's Colorado, Virginia, and Wisconsin, more like safe states. The Democratic nominee isn't running television advertisements in any of the 3 states and has barely campaigned in them. Her trip to Pueblo, Colorado on Wednesday was her first in that state since August. Even when the occasional public poll pops up suggesting a narrowing of the contest, particularly in Colorado and Wisconsin, she doesn't budge. Democrats' confidence is driven by a changing population. Trump's stunning unpopularity with women and his struggle to make inroads with other crucial voting blocs like Hispanics, it's freed Clinton to spend more time and money in places like North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Florida, 3 states that are a must-win for Trump. The goal isn't to spread yourself thin or everywhere, said Joel Benenson, Clinton's pollster and chief strategist. The goal is to concentrate your resources in a way that gives you the most and best path to 270 or more electoral votes. Well, we'll see if she's doing it right. This is certainly not a giveaway, not yet anyway, I'll tell you that. It's just just the way it's going to be. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a Connecticut plane crash that appeared to be a suicide try. A flight instructor and a student pilot had an altercation inside the cockpit of a small plane, and the instructor was unable to regain control from the trainee before it crashed near Connecticut headquarters of a military jet engine manufacturer, killing the student, a U.S. official familiar with the investigation said today. The crash appeared to have been a suicide attempt by the student, and terrorism was ruled out, the official told the Associated Press. The official, who wasn't authorized to speak publicly, spoke on condition of anonymity. The Piper PA-34 Seneca crashed with the two men aboard during a training flight yesterday in East Hartford near the headquarters of Pratt & Whitney. While returning to Brainerd Airport in Hartford, authorities said the flight instructor was badly burned but survived. The instructor described the student pilot as disgruntled about learning to be a pilot, the U.S. official said. You know what? How sad is that? I mean, gosh, bad stuff. Well, here's one for you. Drones are back at it. Drone attack on Kurdish French forces reveals new threats. You know what? French and Kurdish forces in northern Iraq were attacked by an exploding drone, the Pentagon said today, adding a new worry to the wars in Iraq and Syria as militant groups learn to weaponize their store-bought drones. Air Force Colonel John Dorian, the spokesman for the U.S.-led military coalition in Iraq, said an improvised device on the drone exploded after it was taken back to a camp near the Iraqi city of Erbil. He called it a Trojan horse-style attack. 2 Kurds were killed in the incident on October the 2nd, according to a U.S. official who said that the drone looked like a styrofoam model plane that was taped together in a very rudimentary style. The official said that it appeared to be carrying a C4 charge and batteries and may have had a timer on it. Sounds like kind of, like kindergarten, right? These guys are going to do anything, I suppose. Well, let's talk a little bit about a divided America. You know, the evolving face of U.S. immigration is where it's at. When Manasi Gopala immigrated to America, she finally got the chance to row crew. As a child in India, she had dreamed of the sport from watching Olympic telecasts. Now, twice a week, she pulls a pair of oars as her scull glides along tree-lined Lake Wheeler, far from her birthplace in Bangalore. Coppola is among throngs of educated Indians who have moved in recent years to North Carolina's tech-laden Research Triangle and other areas across America. A 39-year-old software developer, she peppers her emails with an adopted y'all. She became a U.S. citizen 3 years ago. America had given me the opportunity to pursue my own life, she said. And how wonderful is that? You know what? So it's got to tell you, the American dream really is still available. Well, let's leave you with this. Democratic governor, health law no longer affordable. You know, Minnesota's Democratic governor said Wednesday that the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable, a stinging critique from a state leader who strongly embraced the law and proudly proclaimed health reform was working in Minnesota just a few years ago. Governor Mark Dayton made the comments while addressing questions about Minnesota's fragile health insurance market, where individual plans are facing double-digit increases after insurers threatened to exit the market entirely in 2017. He's the only Democratic governor to publicly suggest the law isn't working as intended. With that, we're going to take one more short break. When we come back, we're going to hit a higher note, a happier note. We're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is a case that they conceded, and it deals with a faulty election that's for corporations, and is deemed, though, to be effective. I'll tell you all about it right after the...
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 72 on its way to 55 degrees. Looks like winter is finally here. And you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 61 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Chicago, Illinois, it is 57 degrees and they got some light rain going on. But right now, let's try and keep you happy. Let's talk about the IRS loses. Our first case is a case where the IRS actually conceded, and you've heard it say many times that they only concede when they're pretty sure they can't prevail in court, and that's what's going on here. This is about a faulty subchapter S election. It's a corporate election, and it's deemed, though, to be effective. A corporation with a subsidiary made an S election that reported to the IRS that it owned all of the subsidiary stock, but later discovered that it did not. On finding the error, it had the subsidiary redeemed all of the shares that it did not own. And here's what the IRS ruling was. The subsidiary was not a qualified subsidiary when the S election was made because it was not 100% owned. So the S election was faulty. But a faulty S election can be deemed effective when the fault was inadvertent and promptly corrected upon being discovered. And that was the case here, and the corporation had in all other ways acted properly as an S corporation, so its election was upheld. It would have been, if they'd had to go to court, it would have been anyway. Now, how about this? The IRS loses. An appraisal is sufficient for gift tax purposes. Huber Corporation has operated as a private business since 1883 and is about 250 stockholders or shareholders, including extended family members, charities, and universities. Now, each year, an accounting firm appraises its stock value, and the appraisal is used in various transactions involving company stock. But when family members use the appraisal to value gifts of shares to relatives, the IRS challenged it as being too low. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. Over the prior 6 years, there had been 90 stock sales priced at the appraisal value, even though parties were free to negotiate another price. Now, this indicated that the appraisal was fair market value and sufficient for valuing gifts. The IRS doesn't get to make these rules, you know. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Mortgage interest can be deducted as a business expense to boost tax savings. Let me tell you about it. An individual deducted interest that he paid on a home equity loan as a business expense instead of as mortgage interest. This increased his tax savings because, unlike a mortgage interest deduction, the business expense reduced adjusted gross income, or AGI, and so increased other deductions with AGI-related limits. And business expenses are not subject to the general reduction of itemized deductions by the 3% of the annual amount. Of the itemized amount, you know, that's going on, the amount that exceeds your AGI. Now, $150,500 is what the amount was, but but the IRS disallowed the business deduction, and so they went to court, and that's what the judge said. The home loan proceeds were traced to a genuine business use, so the deduction, was proper. That's the way you'd think what it would be. Well, you've heard me talk about it being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. Very, very much like the Twilight Zone, because you never know what you're going to get. Well, you know, this is not tax court cases, but these are precedents that have been set. These are decisions and things that the IRS is doing that if you know about it, you can kind of protect yourself on a lot of different issues. In this first one, though, I want you to know that the IRS has a brand new staff position. It's called Director of the IRS Whistleblower Office. Now, Congress has required the IRS to streamline its informant program, and certain complaints by whistleblowers about not getting paid enough now can be heard by the U.S. tax court. Here's the big change. Informants who want to get paid can no longer submit tips under a pseudonym or through counsel. The changes in the informant rewards procedures are supposed to give the informant more insight about how the information provided was used and how much revenue was collected as a result of the tip. Now, it's unclear how this goal will be achieved in light of the privacy laws that restrict revealing tax information. So if you want to see more about this, you can go to IRS Notice 2008-4, and you can read up on that, and it'll help you a little bit. But you know what? I doubt that there's that many rewards that are actually going out. How about this? Dealing with the IRS Office of Appeals. You know, in cases involving less complex issues, appeals officers generally do not need to meet personally with the taxpayer or his or her representative. Documents or explanations can be considered by the revenue agent when he proposed the tax adjustment can be mailed to the appeals officer with a cover letter. Now, if this settles your case satisfactorily, well, that's fine. That's terrific. However, if the appeals officer informs you that he will sustain the decisions of the revenue agent, insist on a personal meeting. Now, during that meeting, you'll have a chance to discuss the issues at length and not have your position summarily rejected because the appeals officer is eager to hang up the telephone. The personal interaction also helps in the give and take of negotiations, and you want to make sure that that's kind of what's going on there. You never know what's really gonna take place. The face to face, in my opinion, generally is always better. But you know what? If you don't have a face-to-face, you can always force that issue. And that's the good part. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own John Matthews and Joe Hakos in the Conservative Syndicate on our simulcast. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's currently 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. And it is 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 55 degrees. And if you're in Paris, France, listening to our show on our globally syndicated network, it's 46 degrees and clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 54 degrees and it's also clear. Now, we're sitting here, we're waiting any second, about 40 seconds or so. John Matthews and Joe Hakos will be calling in, and we're going to be doing our simulcast. We normally do this on Mondays and Fridays, but John has been trying. He's been having some technical problems. Asked if we could do this today. He wants some answers on carried interest, so we're going to try and take care of that for him and get into a conversation about conservative politics. So John will be calling in here just about any second. Hopefully it's going to work this time. If it doesn't, then I'm just just going to revert, and I'm going to try and answer some of your emails, and we'll fill in. We won't have a problem with that, but hopefully we'll get John, and that'll make things an awful lot better. And then don't forget, right after that, we'll be talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. He'll be talking about new wireless information, probably that Samsung 7 notebook. He'll be talking about that as well. He's probably got a lot of things he wants to talk about, and he'll be doing that very shortly. Anyway, let's hope that John is about ready to call in. Should be calling in any second. I got my eye on the switch here to make sure that I get to it just as quickly as he calls in, and that way we can have this thing covered. So, John has a great show, and he simulcasts. Joe Hakos is out in Florida, John's out in Los Angeles, and then of course I'm here in Upland, California, and that's kind of a a long distance for a simulcast if you think about it, but technology certainly does make that a lot easier. So we'll see what actually happens with that. I'm not sure what's going on with John. He's not calling in here for some reason, and I'm guessing that maybe I need to give him a call. I'm not sure why this is going on this way. He's running quite a bit late. So I'm thinking that probably he is having a difficult problem here. So let's see if I can't maybe get to him. Let's give it a try anyhow. We'll dial it and let's see what happens. Come on, let's go here. Come on, there we go. Let's give it a try. And it should be, and it's ringing, and doesn't look like we're going to get through here for some reason. He must, I'll bet you he's still having a problem over there. I'm going to wind up hanging up, and because it's not going to work, I don't think.
All right, Bob, you there?
Hey, I sure am, John. I thought maybe you hadn't paid your phone bill again.
Yeah, we still got a problem here. I bumped Joe off the call here to get you on, but I'm hoping he can call me back here. I don't know what. I tested this thing this morning and it worked. Here we are.
You know what? It's amazing, John, because you and I seem to have intermittently have the same kind of problem. And this morning I went into a panic because Microsoft sent out another doggone update. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, crumbiny, we're going to have the same problem again. But it didn't. So I got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm going to, I'm trying to, as we sit here and talk here, I'm going to try to get him back on, try something else here and get him back on here. I wanted to, there we go. We're there.
Good.
All right, Joe. Okay. All right, we got it. Yay.
Hey,
right,
it must be a miracle. It's a miracle. A true blue technical miracle.
That's right. All right. Yeah, Bob, I wanted, let's get into the discussion here because I really wanted to get some explanation here. There was an interesting little exchange that took place on the debate Sunday night when they were talking about tax reform, and the question that was asked had to do with how they were going to ensure that the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share. It was definitely a Democrat skewed question, but Donald Trump made a mention about getting rid of carried interest provisions. And I know very few people, that was the first time I'd heard that phrase. And very few people really understand that. And I was wondering, I thought, you were the first person I thought of. I said, Bob would understand how to explain that. Can you share with our listeners here what exactly that means?
Sure. It's actually a very simple concept, and they call it carried interest because they don't want to call it what it really is. The truth is we have to keep in mind, coming back, that, Wall Street has donated millions upon millions of dollars to Senate campaigns and congressional campaigns, and as a result, they were able to put a provision into the tax law that recharacterized their income. Now, stockbrokers generally they make their money either by investing in the stock market or managing other people's money, and they get a percentage of growth on that. So what the stockbrokers want, normally you'd call that earned income. because of the business that they're in. Well, with these provisions, what they've done is they've had it recharacterized. And so if a stockbroker is managing your money or my money or anybody else's money, and they do a really good job and they get it above a preset growth period, then they're able to get 20% of the growth beyond that guaranteed amount. Now that 20% is referred to as carried interest. And what winds up happening is, instead of them having to pay income rates on that, which would in their tax brackets would be 37%, 38%, they get it under a capital gain provision. So they never pay more than 15% on the actual gain. And then they're also able to take some of their stock losses, because it's actually being characterized as a capital gain instead of earned income. And they can take their dollar for dollar, take their stock loss transactions against that, to lower their taxes, plus $3,000 on top of that. Where if they had to treat it as regular income, instead of that 15% preferential rate, they would pay 38%, plus they could never take more than $3,000 more than their gains in the market. So, okay, but now they deducted dollar for dollar against earned income.
Okay, there was a couple of things as I was trying to decipher some of the technical definitions of this stuff, and I know in my days when I was doing financial planning, and we would get people to join a mutual fund, and we were paid on what they call the front end load, meaning we got our commission on the amount of money that was actually invested. Yeah. This looks like, I guess for lack of a better phrase, almost like a back-end load, where you get your commission based on the return of the actual investment. Am I close there?
No, you're right on the money, and it is a back-end load, but it's not referred to as a commission because that would be earned income. It's referred to as carried interest. And what winds up happening is that these stockbrokers get a percentage of that growth, and it's usually about 20%. And they wind up getting a percentage of that growth, and they make millions upon millions of dollars, and it's taxed at a maximum net rate of 15%.
Yeah, because what it looks like to me here is, if you're paying a total of 23.8% taxes on the total return that you're receiving, your share of the fund, that would have. Oh, go ahead, Joe. No. I wasn't saying nothing. Oh, okay. All right. 23.8%. That would be a much lower rate than the normal. Somebody who's making $1 million a year would be in a much higher tax bracket. So it's kind of like a tax advantage to get paid on the back end and the front end. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, but it's not 23.8; it's 15, and it's only because of the adjusted rate that the modified rate that they call it the 23, but that's really only 15%. And the thing is that they get that 15% tax rate, but it's not considered regular income. But they get, because it's not considered regular income, all of their other transactions, capital gain transactions or capital loss transactions during a year, reduce that dollar for dollar. These guys pay just next to nothing in taxes.
Okay, now the fund manager, let's go the other side. Let's say the fund itself doesn't make any money. There's a loss here. So the fund manager can they write off anything, or they only benefit if the fund actually makes money?
No, they only benefit if the fund makes money.
Okay, so this is almost a kind of like you just want people then to invest just to invest, because you really can't lose.
Oh, no, you can't lose. And keep in mind that when we're talking about this, they're talking about REITs, and they're talking about not necessarily just companies now. So when in the case of, let's just use Donald Trump as an example, or Mitt Romney for that matter as an example, these guys are using these managed money transactions in real estate transactions, or REITs, real estate investment trusts. And so they're using it in real estate, and then they're sheltering all of their income that way. And so the way that they're doing it, if they choose to, they don't even have to take the tax on the gain now, which is why they call it carried interest. They can keep moving it forward and forward and forward in 1031 exchanges into perpetuity.
Wow, that sounds almost like churning.
Yes.
And that's supposed to be illegal.
Yes.
Wow.
Make a statement I can say no to.
Well, it meant now, that kind of explains very well why we have billionaires like George Soros and Warren Buffett and people like this that run these hedge funds.
Oh, yeah. Well, did you see the news today? Warren Buffett's got a real problem. He's sitting on $72 billion that he can't get it invested fast enough. It's going to get taxed if he doesn't get it invested.
Wow.
He's sitting on $72 billion in cash.
Oh, gee. Well, hey, he could hook up with the Iranians. I hear they take a lot of cash like that.
Yeah.
That's how you got to collect your payment here in foreign currency delivered by plane at night. Unmarked bills, unmarked foreign currency.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, guaranteed.
Yeah.
If Hillary Clinton gets it,
we got to go to a break here.
Okay.
We got to go to break.
Take a break and call me back.
Yeah, well, we'll be back with Bob Cardoza here.
And we'll be back with John Matthews and our syndicate right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it's still 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, on its way down to 54 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network, and you're in London, England, it's 52 degrees with some light rain showers. In Vienna, Austria, it is 46 degrees and mostly cloudy. Well, we're waiting for John Matthews to call back in on our simulcast. And, it's good stuff. We try to coordinate our commercials and things. He's been having some technical problems, but it looks like we may have gotten these things resolved, so that's a good thing. Anyway, John will be calling back momentarily, and we'll get back into the conversation. We were talking about carried interest. Hopefully, I explained that to you properly. And it's just a big scam that the stockbrokers on Wall Street have perpetrated by donating. There we go. And we're back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
The private-public positions here with Hillary Clinton that has been exposed with WikiLeaks. I think this WikiLeaks thing could really begin to snowball here. You back with us, Bob?
Yes, I am.
All right, okay. On the debate Sunday night, it was mentioned briefly, but it's something that's beginning, I think, to get a little bit of steam behind it. We found out that Hillary Clinton didn't want to release these speech transcripts to Goldman Sachs and some of these other big firms, banks, and corporations, because apparently she has two positions on everything. One, the donors, and one to the American public. And I was interested in what you think about that.
Well, you know what? I was going to say crooked Hillary, but I think that term's already being used. But the thing is when you think of Hillary Clinton and if she gets into the White House, I can guarantee you one thing, and that is that Wall Street is going to be happy. They're not going to be upset at all. She is not going to change carried interest. She is not going to. She's not going to even hurt the upper level tax rates. Those people, she's going to try and reduce those, because guess why? Those are the same rates that her and her husband are in.
Well, I was just reading today, just before we came on the air here, she's got another new economic policy that she's floating out there, and that is we're going to give poverty level people tax credits for child care. So if you're making $3,000 or less a year, you can now file for a refund from the government for child care.
But you know what? They already have child care credits. Unless they're talking about dollar for dollar. But right now, you can get child care credits for up to $3,000.
That's the thing. First of all, there's several things about it. If you're earning $3,000 or less a year, who are you? You don't have a babysitter.
You are. Hey, I'm sorry, but you are the babysitter.
Yeah, you're leaving that kid with grandma. For crying out loud.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do now? What you're actually doing is you're going to start siphoning money from other taxpayers for the purpose of giving people more money. This is just another redistribution plan. And we're going to call it, and the way she's proposing it is, it's going to lift people out of poverty. I'm thinking, how many tax credits could you claim if you earn $3,000 or less a year? I mean, are you going to get a $6,000 tax return?
Well, here's the problem, and it's existed for a long, long time, especially under Democratic administrations. The problem is that when they don't give a tax deduction, but they give a tax credit, the tax credit, what you don't use to reduce the taxes you owe, and in the case we're talking about now, you wouldn't owe any, it actually gets added to your refund. So someone who paid absolutely no taxes could get up to about $6,000 in tax refunds.
Well, I'm thinking the plan here. This is, I know how it's being packaged, and to the average mind, we read this stuff and we say, well, that's not even mathematically feasible, possible. So, but what it sounds like to me is they're calling it one thing, but what they're really going to do is they're going to subsidize poverty.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to at the expense of the people that are paying taxes, and so that means all this claim that she's talking about that Donald Trump's tax plan, according to the experts, is going to put us into another recession, another depression, and everything else. And now she's just coming out with another gimmick to try to get some more poor people to the polls, because they can't.
John, of course she's got to get them to the polls. But think about it. Remember when Bernie Sanders was saying something about explain the difference between being a Democrat and being a socialist, and nobody could define the difference? Well, that's exactly what's going on right now. Is she's going to use socialism to get people to the polls to vote for her to ensure that she gets to get into the White House.
Oh, well, obviously, I think it's more than obvious that her platform right now looks much more like Bernie Sanders than it did before Bernie Sanders became a threat.
Yeah.
You listen to her go down her bullet point list, the minimum wage. She never even talked about minimum wage until Bernie Sanders brought it up. And as I was listening to her Sunday night go down her little talking point list of the things she's going to do to improve the economy, I'm thinking, my God, we should just put Uncle Bernie on the stage, and you can go back and have your coughing fits in the back, and nobody wouldn't be the wiser for it.
Well, I keep waiting for Pence to leave the Trump campaign and Bernie to join it.
Well, anything's impossible at this point. Joe and I have just come to the conclusion. I'm in total agreement with Joe. At this point, I could give a horse's patoot what Trump does from this point out. I don't care what he does.
Well, I don't care what he does either, because for me it's exciting. I've never seen a campaign like this, and I mean he's just lining them up against the wall and loading the guns. This is going to be interesting to see what the outcome is. He could be the demise of the Republican Party.
Well, we have Joe has something here. Maybe we'll leak this here right now here, because you're wondering what's going on here. Joe was just talking to me about what's going on in Florida. We're seeing the returns coming in, the early voters and the absentee ballots and stuff coming in. What were the numbers you were floating out there, Joe?
Let's see. The Republicans were winning by 120,000 votes in early votes. It's the first Republicans ever to win early votes in Florida so far. And that just started like a week ago. So, yes, they're not actual votes. I mean, there could be Republicans voting for Hillary Clinton in these, but that's 120,000 more Republicans voted than Democrats.
Oh, so you're saying that you're not saying who voted Republican. You're talking about Republicans that voted.
That's correct. And they've never outvoted Democrats before.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's early voting.
Yeah, we're just talking about the total number of ballots that have come in. They haven't been opened yet. They haven't been, dropped into the slot.
Yeah.
But the point is that the Republicans are responding in a much larger fashion than the Democrats have. And as Joe said, it's the first time the Republicans have been able to do this in Florida.
So what they would call that enthusiasm.
Yeah. And that's the thing we're seeing. Joe was at a rally yesterday, another Trump rally yesterday. So somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 people.
Wow.
And you go to a Hillary Clinton rally, and you've got, you're lucky if you can fill up half of a basketball gym.
I think she was lucky to get 750 people yesterday in Miami.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you though, guys, I'm not ready to count Trump out. There's Brexit. When we had Brexit in Britain, everybody said it was ridiculous and nobody was going to vote for it. Nobody in their right mind would vote for Brexit, and they did it on a landslide. The truth is a lot of people are very upset with our government and the makeup of the government and the different branches of government that we have. And I think a lot of them are embarrassed or just sick and tired of having to talk about it and explain it, and they're going to just do their thing when they make their vote. There could still be some surprises here.
Well, I certainly believe my personal take on this. I think Trump is going to turn New York. I think he's going to take Florida. I think he's going to turn Pennsylvania. And if he does that, I think this thing is all over. And it remains to be seen what happens here as we get closer to election time. If we see the left really going super radical with just everything that they can possibly throw against the wall, then that's a sign that they know that there's something wrong out there, and they're going to do everything they can to stop it. So, hey, Bob, we're out of time here. I wanted to give you a moment here to plug your show.
Okay, listen, you can listen to my show every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. But you know what? We don't want to compete with John's show, and so get my app. Just go to your web page or your app store and search Robert Cardoza Live. It's absolutely free. Download it. You can listen to me anytime, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, or go to my website at robertcardozalive.com, and it'll be available there for you too. Hey guys, it seems strange to talk to you on a Wednesday. I look forward to talking to you again on a regular basis.
All right. Thanks so much, my friend. We'll talk to you later.
All right. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. He'll be with us right after these brief messages. So, you know what? Don't go away. We'll be.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. So it's way down to 55 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 46 degrees. It is mostly cloudy. And in Madrid, Spain, it's 55 degrees and it is overcast. And waiting in the wings is our, you know what? Let me give him a proper introduction here. A man whose reputation is excelled only by the knowledge that he has to give to us, impart to us, our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. Hey, Joel, are you sitting out there?
Yes, I am. How are you, Robert?
I am doing well, other than a couple of little small snafus. I apologize to you for it. I thought I had you online, and then I got up and went to get something, came back, and you were offline. So I don't know what I did, but I apologize for it.
Well, you undid it, and I'm here, so I guess it doesn't matter.
All right. Hey, listen, Samsung, can you believe it? I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh, my God. Well, since I talked to you, a lot's happened in this regards with the Samsung Note 7. When we last spoke, I believe we had Samsung devices blowing up left and right. I think they got up to about 100. I don't think there was that many in the U.S., but I believe totally about 100. And then they came out with the new improved version, and that one also was exploding. So the carriers have done away with the Samsung Note 7. They're a little fed up at this point. Samsung has stopped producing the Note 7. The carriers have stopped replacing the Note 7s with the so-called new improved version. So the Note 7 is history. In fact, they're sending anybody who's got one a box. And this is a special box. It's like 3 layers. It's fireproof, and they're sending latex gloves as well. So, seriously.
Well, you know what? But what I read in the news was that they have discontinued the manufacture of it in total now.
Totally. It's done.
Wow.
The model is over. It's a total embarrassment to Samsung, I should say to South Korea. Samsung is by far the largest company in South Korea. I forgot what they call them, but they're these companies that are just so enormous. I think they're called Chaibuns or something like that. The next three largest ones are SDK, LG, and Hyundai, and all three of those together don't even come close to the size of Samsung. So this is a national pride issue for a lot of the South Koreans, I'm told. And it's just amazing. I mean, this is going to cost them millions and millions and millions, but they make billions and billions and billions. So it's really it's a big deal, but I'm sure they'll survive it.
You know, it's amazing. But what happens, Joel, in a case like this where, you, me, nobody's ever heard of this kind of thing going on? Have they lost the confidence of the market? Is this going to hurt them in a really serious long-term way?
Well, they've lost my confidence, and I think I may have told you this last time we spoke. I was actually thinking about getting one of those because I'm convinced I've got the touch disease on my iPhone 6S or something weird. We'll get into that in a moment. But I was very seriously considering this model. On paper, it was beautiful. I sold a few of them, and before I heard about their blowing up, they seemed beautiful. But then I had a weird problem with my Samsung dishwasher, which replaced a 10-year-old KitchenAid and wasn't even 2 years old and failed. And when I looked up, I couldn't find the exact model number initially. So I just, typed into Google, Samsung dishwashers suck. And there came up my model number, which I found later from dozens and dozens of people with the same exact sensor problem I had. Wow. All of them furious because their machines were virtually just out of warranty. You'd expect a dishwasher to last more than 2 years.
Oh, you know what? I got to tell you, I mean, my last dishwasher, when I built my last house, that we lived in it for 16 years before I sold it. The dishwasher never stopped working. And it was a KitchenAid, though, but it never stopped working.
Well, the KitchenAids are great. I used to sell appliances when I was in college, and KitchenAid and Maytag, there were a few brands that were exceptional. Obviously, I never heard of Samsung back then. I don't think they made anything but TVs and VCRs at that time. Now they make everything. They want to make your whole kitchen. And I heard their front-load washers were exploding too.
Oh,
or one of them did, allegedly. Anyway.
Well, I've got a 64-inch Samsung flat screen TV.
Well, those are great
in my house, and I'm loving this thing. But I got to tell you, with what I'm hearing in the news about everything else, it's scaring the hell out of me that I'm going to wake up one day in flames.
Well, check my Facebook post. One of my recent earlier today posts was I just kind of ranted on Samsung, and I said, look, short of their TVs, I got a 42-inch, but short of their TVs, which I've never had a problem with, I'll never buy anything Samsung again. I mean, I just don't like the way I was treated. They wouldn't acknowledge there was a problem, despite there's dozens and dozens of people with the same issue. They want $150 to come send somebody out and charge me $75 for a part that should have been recalled. So I'm a little bit, I don't know if you want to call it karma, but, after this dishwasher escapade and, they told me to pound sand, all of a sudden their Note 7 started exploding. So I can't say that, I'm disappointed. I kind of laughed and thought, you know what? That's some payback. Sure they don't care about Joel, but you know what? It's called karma, and you treat your customers bad things happen.
Who do you
think was happy about this? You know who was the most happy about this whole Samsung exploding Note 7s? Aside from Donald Trump. Apple.
I would think.
Apple's in the middle of a class action lawsuit for this touch disease on the 6S model that, they don't want to acknowledge it either, that there's a problem. And their solution is to swap out your 6S for a refurbished 6S, which isn't going to solve the problem. Same problem's going to show up a few weeks later. So there's some issues with all these phones. I mean, I think Apple's still the most reliable, but pause for thought.
Well, you know what? It makes you say to yourself, hey, you know what? The phone that I have, and I happen to have an Apple, but the phone that I have, I think I'm just going to hang on to it for a while because everybody seems to be having a problem.
Well, you know what? If I was going to buy a phone today, if I was going to recommend a phone for your users to buy, you might be surprised with my selection, but I would tell them, while they can, buy yourself a brand new iPhone 6. And the reason I say that, the iPhone 6 2 years ago was $650 for 16 gig. Now it's about $449 for 16 gig, $499 for 64 gig, even maybe 128 gig. It's never bbeen a better deal. It runs the new iOS 10 beautifully. It's the most stable, solid iPhone I've ever owned. I like it better than my 6S Plus, which I've had issues with. I've had apps disappearing, Robert. I've had, if I'm talking to somebody on the phone, like let's say I'm talking to you and I want to hang up, and I go to hit the red hang up button. Sometimes it hangs up, sometimes it doesn't hang up, sometimes that phone screen just disappears and it doesn't hang up. And now I got to find it. I got apps. You ever have apps disappear off your front page?
No, I've never had that happen.
All right. Well, these are all things you can look forward to if you get one of the newer successes.
Well, like I said, Joel, I think I'm going to stay happy with the one that it's interesting that you would say that, though, because just recently my daughter was here and she's got the 6S. And she likes it. And she was talking to my wife about getting a new phone. And my wife's got the 4S. But she doesn't.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but she doesn't do. I'll tell you what. She does. She makes phone calls and she texts. Nothing else. And she gets the weather. But that's all she does with that phone. So my daughter was saying, it's time you got a new phone. And I said, well, wait a minute. It's time I got a new phone. She's going to get my old phone. But my buddy Joel Saltzman says this is not the time to get a new phone. We need to wait a little while.
Well, Joel Saltzman says this is the time to get an SE or an iPhone 6 at a good price to get you until September 2017 when the 10th anniversary iPhone 8 without the bezel and radically different screen, AMOLED screen, everything changes on the 2017 model. So my philosophy is get as good a device as you can now. Even used iPhones are fine. I sell those, the used ones. But right now you can get a 6 at a very good price. And again, I think the 6 is one of the most stable models they've ever made and, supports most of all the latest features, great battery, great camera, and reasonable price. So
let me ask you this, Joel. For the person that gets a 6, is it, I think about it in terms of like even the iPads, the original iPads, they can't even service them. They can't update them. They can't do anything with them. Same thing if you were to use your computer. At some point, the operating system in your computer, they stop supporting it, and that doesn't happen. How long do you think it is between iPhone introductions that they stop servicing the prior iPhones?
That's a fantastic question that you're asking, and I actually addressed it very recently. Also, I think it was either on my Facebook, Facebook/DR Wireless, or it may have been our drwireless.com blog. But I talked about 4 benefits of Apple over Android. And one of those benefits is Apple supports their software. One of the things Apple does and Android doesn't, but Android is going to start doing, is this. When you make your own equipment and you make your own iOS, your own software, one company, what a concept, huh? One company making the device and the software. BlackBerry used to do it. Palm used to do it. Everybody used to do it. Well, Apple still does it. That is the Achilles heel of Android. And the problem with Android, Google's Android, they had a dozen different brands making equipment using Google's iOS, And there you can see the problem, because most of the carriers wanted each one of these brands to put their own bloatware on. Motorola had the Moto Blur, with the fancy boot up. It would take an extra 30 seconds to boot up, so it could give you the Motorola logos and other crap you didn't want. HTC had news that would come up on your startup screen. People don't want that stuff. But the point you're making is this, and it's very good. When you get an iPhone, if let's say there's an issue, as there always is,
mm-hmm.
Apple will push out a software upgrade immediately to all of their users. Why can they do that? Because all of their users have an iPhone. Now, the problem we run into with Androids is Google will recognize an issue and tell all the manufacturers, hey, we got an issue. Well, guess what? It's Samsung, Huawei, Motorola, whoever, LG. There's a gazillion of them. There's Sony Ericsson. There's probably 15, 20 brands. It's their responsibility to push out these software updates. Some of these companies do a fairly good job. Others do not do a good job. And what that means is very often Google walks away from previous versions of software. For example, the HTC Evo, none of that software is supported anymore. It's a paperweight. You can't do anything with it. Now let's compare that to Apple. The Apple iPhone 5 came out 4 years ago. Technically, that phone will support iOS 10. Now, I don't personally recommend it, just because I've heard people with the 5 and 5Cs were having some issues, and I'm sure there'll be subsequent versions that will fix this. Mm-hmm. But my feeling is, if you got a 5S or later, do the upgrade. If you got a 5 or 5C, I probably wouldn't do it. But Apple will support it, and that's a 4-year-old phone. So there you go. Apple will stand behind their product and push out these upgrades to problems far, far faster than Android does, than Google.
And now, you know what? And so it goes back. It goes back, Joel, to what we used to say a long, long time ago, and that is, you know what? You get what you pay for.
You do, and this is an interesting concept, because you can buy Androids. You can buy a decent Android for $50. You can buy a top-of-the-line Android with iPhone 7 features for $400, for half the price. So, obviously, you can also spend $900 for an Android. The Samsung Note 7 was no cheap phone. But at the end of the day, the iPhones are just very well designed, because they have more control, and Android's seeking the same control. They acknowledge that Apple is a great product because they make the hardware, they make the software, and this is why they're now working very closely with HTC on this Pixel model. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think this could be the best Android ever.
Wow.
Samsung might differ with me, but I'm not sticking up for them until they fix my dishwasher.
Good for you. Well, listen, my friend.
So what's new with you? What do you think of all this election stuff? Can you believe?
You know what?
The garbage. These guys do not want to talk issues. Well, Trump doesn't want to talk issues anyway.
I have never seen a campaign like this one, ever. It just boggles my mind. And I've been watching campaigns since Truman turned the White House over to Eisenhower. I have never seen a campaign like this one. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch, to be honest with you.
It is like a soap opera. It's just the scary thing is it's real life, and I'm not thrilled about ending up with any of these candidates. That's the best that the U.S. can offer. Yeah. It's a frightening scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, we're going to take.
But you know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll give you the info. I'm going to segue into something when we come back about Turkey blocking Google Drive and Dropbox and some other stuff. But All the stuff we're talking about can be found on our website, www.drwireless.com. It's also on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless, and I can be contacted at joel@drwireless.com.
And we will be right back with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We got a lot of fantastic show. We're just waiting for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's back to 72 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on the way to 55 degrees. Looks like winter has finally arrived, or fall, I should say. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you are in Tokyo, Japan, well, it's 59 degrees and it's a little bit cloudy. If you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 57 degrees and partly cloudy. But I'll tell you, there's no clouds over the head of our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone, buddy.
Robert, I hear that trumpet, and I'm ready to. I feel like I'm at the races. I'm ready to hear. And there they go. with Robert Cardoza in the lead on the rail.
Yeah, time. It's sort of like a wake-up call, right?
It does. And I'm wide awake for you today.
All right. Yes, you are. You're always wide awake for me. You know, it's interesting you're talking about politics, but I know we don't want to get into it too much. But haven't you found this to be the most interesting campaign of all? I've never seen this kind of war take place.
Well, to me, it is quite amazing. You know, I listen to Hillary, I listen to Donald, and I listen to Gary Johnson, and he's hysterical. I thought he was kidding at first. When he was asked about Aleppo.
Yeah, he thought it was a dog food, right?
He said to him, "What's Aleppo?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Is that an acronym?"
Yeah.
He wasn't sure what it was, and then the announcer said, "You're kidding me."
Yeah,
and hey, look, I understand everybody can make a mistake, and maybe in the heat of the moment, he didn't understand the question. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But then the next time I heard him interviewed, he was asked to name a world leader, that he admires. And he was struggling. Yeah. And then they said, well, just name any world leader, period.
Yeah,
and he was still struggling.
Any country.
And then he ended up saying, I kind of like that fellow who was the ex-president of Mexico. He still couldn't name his name.
Isn't it? It's just amazing. Just amazing. If you go back, and I believe it was 2000, was it maybe? When was the last? Was that when Al Gore was running against George Bush? Was that 2000? The original one?
Let's see. I think it was 2000. Was it 2000? I think it may have been. Let's see.
Yeah. Anyway, it was actually
that was the Florida, the one where
that's the one that Ralph Nader. That's the one that Ralph Nader got involved in.
They're blaming him for causing the Democrats.
Yeah. And so I think that's what they're hoping is going to happen here with Gary Johnson. That it'll be another Ralph Nader thing, and it's just amazing. I don't think in my lifetime I have ever seen any party go against their nominee.
No, it's never happened as far as I know. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And even and as despicable as he might sound, and not to take I don't like either one of them. So, for me, my friends say, how could you vote for Hillary?
But Joel, here's the thing.
When I trash Donald, it's like, hey, look, I don't have to like Donald. Doesn't mean that I like Hillary. I don't like either one of them personally.
Well, here's the thing. 70% of the United States citizens that are eligible to vote don't like anybody that's running.
And that is a frightening thing. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Hey, but we could live in Turkey. I don't know if you heard about what happened in Turkey just recently. Turkey blocked cloud storage services.
Oh, yeah, you were going to tell me about this. Yes.
Yep. Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, GitHub, all of these are blocked. And the reason they're blocked is they believe that what they're trying to do apparently is suppress the leak of emails belonging to the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, who's the son-in-law of the president, President Erdogan. And apparently what they're trying to do is there was a 17 gigabyte leak, which is believed to have, it's like 57,000, even more emails than Hillary. It's 57,623 emails dating from April 2000 to the end of this September. And some hacking group called Red Hack apparently got all this information and wants to dump it.
You sure that's not a division of WikiLeaks?
Who knows what it is? It could be.
This is amazing.
Well, you know what? It looks like, let's see, it blocked WikiLeaks in July. Following a leak of emails from Turkey's political party. It barred web users from accessing Twitter and Facebook after a car bomb exploded in Ankara. So it's an example of a country taking some drastic steps to prevent the public from getting a hold of this email stuff.
Well, I sit back and I shake my head at what's going on here in the United States, and I still believe that there is no better place on earth to live.
There isn't.
Can you imagine if Trump were saying the things about Hillary and Obama, or let's just say Obama, the president of the United States, regardless of who he is, if anybody was saying that in any other country, they'd get a bullet behind their ear.
Assassinated.
Yeah.
They'd be locked up at best or assassinated at worst.
Yeah, this is an amazing country, but I got to tell you, right now, if you're on the outside looking in, you're looking at this as a comedy reality show going on.
Well, you could live in Russia, Robert. They have these two kids. They're not kids. One's 26, one's 29. They own this N-Tech lab. And these folks have come up with a pretty amazing type of software. And what it does, it identifies any passing face, and it's ready to be marketed, and the Russian police are likely going to be the first customer.
You're kidding.
Can you imagine? You submit a selfie, and you don't need to carry a ticket into a concert.
Wow.
They scan your face, and you're in.
Wow.
So the problem is obviously, once submitted, these things stay with, N-Tech Lab, which is free to sell its face database to anybody who wants it, including police departments, authoritarian governments.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but the concept is crazy. Even the owners concede. The owners, this Mr. Kabakov says, simply owning a smartphone means you can't opt out of surveillance. There is no longer any private life. Your government can control you now. You take your iPhone or Android phone, and it has information about your behavior, your movements, what you buy, and who you're talking to. Isn't that the truth?
Well, absolutely. I mean, emails, at least on the iPhone, it stores them, and if you try to get rid of them one by one, it takes you all day. You cannot get rid of those doggone emails.
Yeah, it is hard to do it on an iPhone. I do all my deleting on my, I have Exchange, so if I delete it on my big computer, it deletes off the iPhone. But you're right. They don't make it easy to delete email on the iPhones. Or if they do, I haven't figured out a quick way to do it.
Yeah, that's just nuts. Well,
how about some good news here for a change?
Oh,
Dropbox.
Something to smile at. Dropbox. Well, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Dropbox for iOS now has an iMessage app and also a picture-in-picture playback, split view. That's coming soon. That's not available yet. But the iMessage thing, I guess, was just launched. So they're improving that, which will be pretty cool. I'm just trying to figure out if they said when that would be available. But there's lots of new features. I don't know if you've noticed in iOS 10, there's a lot of neat things you can do.
Oh, yeah. You know what? And they come out every 2 weeks or so. iPhone sends out another message, an email to you about other things that they put into here. They've got a lot of new, really good, cool things.
Very cool things. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but my Siri is now stuck on stupid. Have you noticed any issues? I mean, all of a sudden, she doesn't understand what I'm saying. I ask her for something I've asked her millions of times previously successfully, and she can't do it. I don't understand why, but all of a sudden, she's not working as well as she used to.
Well, you know what? Isn't that weird? It's got to be the iOS 10 update that did that, right?
It may be, and at the same time, everybody else has gotten so much better. Alexa, I think, the Amazon product, Amazon has like a speaker that you talk to. Well, it's so much more robust.
Google has the same thing.
Yeah, Google has it too.
Yeah,
and they do a lot more than Siri does. Siri's, kind of. They need to revamp Siri or something. I don't know what the issue is, but, Siri does a little more than it did previously. You can open up, I can open up Waze and a few other applications I couldn't open previously, but these other companies are doing far more with this voice activation.
Well, Siri's a little funny. It's a little scary because they want you to, if you wanted to transfer money to somebody, to do it through Siri, or if you wanted to order a Lyft or a Uber car, do it through Siri. Why do we need the apps anymore if we're going to do all this stuff through Siri?
That's a very good point. It's a very good point. Yeah, before I forget, I wanted to talk about Global Star, our satellite phone company. They just extended their free satellite phone offer, and this has been a great deal. And the loophole on this is you can get a $500 miniaturized satellite phone. They will fit in like the front pocket of my jeans when the antenna's down. But these are like $500 normally, and the loophole is you go 1 year on their 1 year plan, which is $780 a year, and that gets you 100 minutes a month. It's basically 65 cents a minute, $65 a month for 100 minutes. Gets you unlimited texting and gets you unlimited voicemail. But the beauty of the program is you go on that for a year, and then if you're not using it that much, a lot of people get this for disaster preparedness or for exotic vacations. You can drop down to the $40 a month program the second year, and it's 40 minutes. So you're paying a little more for the minutes, but for somebody who's just going to use it for emergencies, it's a great idea. We all know with these hurricanes and earthquakes and tornadoes and everything else.
Talking about that, because this last hurricane, Matthew, was just the devastation and stuff was going on was just immense. For those people that were there, they had to have lost their cell phone services and their landline services. Your satellite phone would have been absolutely would have sold out there.
Would have worked well. I mean, sometimes they're a little iffy when the atmospheric conditions, when the wind is 100 miles an hour, and there's a lot of cloud cover. It could be dicey, but yes, you're right. My dad lives in Stewart, and they got hit fairly hard. Not as hard as St. Augustine and Jacksonville, but he had no power for a day, which meant no phone. I couldn't get him the first 4 hours. Actually, I did get him on a cell phone. I wasn't able to get him on his landline. After a while, I got him on the cell phone. But that's where a sat phone will work because you don't have to worry about network congestion. You don't have to worry about local infrastructure. The signal's going 917 miles straight up.
Wow.
So benefit, with the sat phones is that. I had a gentleman come by last night whose son was going for the first time to some camp in Catalina Island for the week. And he's never been away, and his dad was very concerned. So he ended up renting a satellite phone and knowing that they'll be over the open water, and they're going to be on the back end, the Buffalo side of Catalina Island. So he was asking me what works, and I said, well, the only thing I know works for sure is a sat phone.
You know what? I mean, when you think about it, a $500 phone, and you get that phone for a 1 year subscription, that's a hell of a deal.
It's a business write-off.
Yeah.
Any company, I'm not an accountant, but any company that makes $500, or $780, I mean, it's a write-off. It's disaster preparedness. It's business continuity. To me, it's a business expense. Your business needs to be prepared. Should all heck break loose. Yeah. And I would view it as an expense. And to me, having one of these things, and the beauty of it is not a lot of people have them. Absolutely. I don't sell these nearly as much as I sell regular phones.
And so you don't get the congestion.
Exactly. That's the whole benefit. Hey, and Joe, everybody who buys them has phones.
Hey, Joe, give out that contact information. We're going to have to move along.
I hate when that happens, Robert. Everything we're talking about today can be seen at www.drwireless.com. We also have it on our blog, /blog, same address. And we also have it on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/drwireless. And I can be contacted by any of your listeners directly at joel@drwireless.com. Happy to answer any questions.
Hey, Joel, make it a great week. You got a couple days left, and hopefully the sun will come out again, and you'll be able to get your toes wet.
Likewise, and you may even get some rain if we're lucky.
It could be that way. Have a great weekend, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. And the rest of you folks, stay on board, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless fact. We'll be right back with all of that stuff right after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 72 degrees. That's down from 75 on its way to 55 degrees. But it looks like fall is here, and it is beautiful outside. The sky is clear, but it's cool compared to what it's been in the hundreds, you know. But I want you to know that if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you happen to be in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 63 degrees and clear. And if you're in Hong Kong, well, it's 75 degrees with some light rain showers. And if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 57 degrees and partly cloudy. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is use a recurring meeting to bust bureaucratic log jams. You know, every company has them. Smart, well-intentioned managers who inadvertently slow down the company with too many questions, too much analysis, and too much process. To speed up these people, consider holding a recurring meeting on Monday mornings to air and resolve the conflicts that are preventing execution. Meet, talk, and stay in the room until the issues are resolved. This will send a clear signal that any conflicts preventing the organization's ability to act, especially at the front line, will be allowed to linger for a maximum of 4 business days. A commitment to making fast, firm decisions raises the organization's metabolism and shows everyone that leadership's bias is toward acting and executing on behalf of customers. Employees will come to expect that endless analysis and deliberation won't be tolerated. Now, that seems like a good way to go to me. Now, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And you know that this is all about a positive mental attitude. You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, a success, or a failure. You decide it in the morning when you get up in the morning, look in the mirror, and you say, wow, I'm going to have a great, productive, profitable day today. You decide it all. It's all about a positive mental attitude. Now, our secret for today is your life right now is a reflection of your past thoughts. That includes all the great things and all the great things that you consider not so great. Since you attract to you what you think most about most, it is easy to see what your dominant thoughts have been on every subject of your life, because that is what you've experienced. Until now you are learning the secret. And with this knowledge, you can change everything, because you can change your thoughts. Yeah, you are in control. Well, you know what today is. Sure you do. We do. We all do. It happens to be Wednesday. It's October the 12th, and it is somebody's birthday. And we've got some terrific birthdays today, so we might as well just get right into them. And let's start off with this fella. He was born in 1968, an actor and producer who's involved in film, musical theater, and television. He's won international recognition for his roles in major films, notably as action, superhero, period, and romance characters. Happy birthday, Hugh Jackman. And here's somebody born 1975. She won 5 medals at the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, but she has since agreed to forfeit all medals and prizes. Happy birthday, Marion Jones. Yeah. Well, what do you suppose happened today in history? You don't have to worry about it. I'm going to tell you anyhow. On October the 12th, 1928, an iron lung respirator is used for the very first time at Children's Hospital in Boston. For those of you that aren't old enough, an iron lung, I remember them. And not that I was born in 1928, but I actually had seen them. Those are for people that were suffering from polio. It was a horrible thing. And in 1962, infamous Columbus Day storm strikes the United States Pacific Northwest with a record wind velocities of, and 46 people are dead, and at least $230 million in damages. It didn't tell me what the wind velocity was. It just said record wind velocities. Well, in 1972, en route to the Gulf of Tonkin, a racial brawl involving more than 100 sailors breaks out aboard the United States Navy aircraft carrier USS Kitty Hawk. Yeah, what a shame that was. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from a magnificent actor. That guy's just phenomenal. Anthony Hopkins. And he says, I love life because what more is there? Boy, is that profound or what? All right, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We've got a number of them here, so we might as well get to them. And got a couple minutes anyhow. You know, the pop that you hear when you crack your knuckles is actually a bubble of gas that's burning. Isn't that interesting? But you know what? Sometimes you need that relief. How about this? Did you know that all the coal, oil, gas, and wood on Earth would only keep the sun burning for a few days? Isn't that interesting? I am surprised it would even be a few days, to be honest with you. Did you know that fully grown caterpillars attach themselves to a suitable twig or leaf before shedding their outside layer of skin to reveal a hard skin underneath, known as chrysalis? Yeah, chrysalis. Well, let's give you one more here. The term Mayday, used for signaling for help after SOS, It comes from the French term m'aides, which is pronounced Mayday and means help me. Yeah. Well, let me give you one more. The 57 on the Heinz ketchup bottle represents the number of pickle types that the company once had. Isn't that interesting? Well, we're going to leave you with that one. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. It's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And you know what? Paul Harvey is the biggest biggest and best voice in America, revealing the startling heartbeats behind all the headlines. You know, for those of you that never had the opportunity to listen to Paul Harvey or to see him or to listen to him speak, the guy was just absolutely phenomenal. He's just an unbelievable guy. He was one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators. He was heard on over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. He was the recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees, and on the Gallup Polls list of America's most admired men. Well, our tribute today to Paul starts with this story, The Cause. You know, in June of 1969, Honduras and El Salvador went to war. Honduras and El Salvador, you'll remember, are 2 neighboring Central American nations. They're practically cousins. Honduras is larger than El Salvador. Her farmland is better. For years, Salvadorians had gone to Honduras to farm. No problem. There were the usual suspicions, who's in the minority and so on, but nothing to fight about until June of 1969. That's when Honduras and El Salvador went to war. Why? Well, why is the rest of the story. It was a matter of national honor, or dishonor, I should say. And basically, you know what? Somebody was trying to call in here, and I missed it out. Anyway, it was just a matter of national dishonor. This cause over which the Honduras decided to fight El Salvador. Their first retaliation was against the Salvadorian farmers living among them. When the farmers ran home to El Salvador, about 15,000 of them, they told the atrocities that they suffered by them in Honduras. Some of those atrocities were verified, though most were not. At any point, or any rate, both countries broke diplomatic relations and began massive propaganda campaigns, which a month fighting broke out. 5 days later, more than 2,000 people had been killed. Honduran air attacks had severely damaged El Salvador's industry, and Salvadoran troops were 25 miles inside Honduran territory. Both armies, about 5,000 men each, were in disarray. Ammunition and food supplies were unavailable. The air forces, initially about 8 planes on each side, were crippled, and the news media had gone bananas. Totally hysterical about this time, the OAS stepped in, called for a ceasefire, and they got it for a while. That was in 1969. Newspaper headlines read, Honduras and El Salvador, where peace really may be at hand. It wasn't. It still isn't. They're still going at it down there and still struggling and snipping away at each other. The back of it all was this mysterious event of national dishonor. That was the whole thing. Supposedly suffered by the Hondurans, the cause over which the 2 countries separated and have been fighting ever since. Oh, there are more grievances now, more wind to fan the flames. Doubtless the ingredients for a conflagration always did exist, just waiting for somebody to strike a match. El Salvador is seriously overpopulated. Her citizens are poor. About 4 million people crowd her 8,260 square miles, giving El Salvador a population density of 485 per square mile. Further complicating this overpopulation problem, El Salvador has always also has one of the highest birth rates in the world. Honduras, on the other hand, is underpopulated. 3 million people on more than 43,000 square miles. That puts her population density at 70 per square mile, about 1/7 that of El Salvador. Yet, Honduras is the poorest country in Central America. Its economy, almost entirely agrarian, is growing at a slower rate than that of El Salvador. And although Honduras joined the Central American Common Market with great hopes, it is surely the weakest link in the economy of the region. So, when farmers from overpopulated El Salvador came to underpopulated Honduras to raise crops, things worked out very well, except for the inevitable jealousy. After all, El Salvador was getting rich off the soil of Honduras. That was enough to complain about, but not enough to fight about. until one day in June of 1969. The official of El Salvador made a decision that started a fight, and that fight ignited a war. Not a government official, an athletic official. What I'm saying is that the 8-year border war that's still going on was triggered by an athletic event. Two Latin American neighbor nations who managed to work together on both sides of an unguarded border for generations are at this moment killing one another over nothing more than a disputed score. A soccer game. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, just keep in mind that tomorrow's story is going to be hands down. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be an interesting story for you. And then on my next show, we'll have Sean LaFave here. Sean and I are going to be talking about the human machine on his segment, Geared for Wellness. And then I'll continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey with the rest of the story. And the story, like I said, tomorrow is going to be hands down. That's what it's going to be. Well, please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And I can guarantee you I'll be glad you did too.
Our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.